So yesterday we started with the new topic, which is data encryption standard, and it is also called as data encryption algorithm, right? So we saw that it is a very huge complicated cipher, so decoding or decrypting it by a cryptanalysis person will be very difficult, right? But let's see what are the potential problems, I'll say, not what are the problems, because it has not been yet decrypted very nicely. Okay, so what are the variations of DA? So in spite of its strengths, it is generally felt that with the tremendous advances in computer hardware, that is higher processing speeds of gigahertz, high memory, etc., DAS is susceptible to possible attacks. But what we do, so we require a new algorithm, but it is already proven to be a very competent algorithm, right? So what we do, we just use DES by making it stronger by some means. So that is where we have the topic of variations of DES. Okay, so the first variation is called as double DES. So as the name suggests, it uses two keys K1 and K2. Okay, so again, as we saw yesterday, we'll just refer the diagrams and you can write out this text, so there is no need to by heart again. So I have original plain text, I encrypt it with a key K1. So what will I get? I will get a ciphertext. So what I do, I again treat this as a plain text and again encrypt it with a second key. Remember, this is K1, this is K2. So I am using two keys, hence the name double DES. So I get finally the ciphertext. So I am encrypting the already encrypted plain text. Okay. So then again, DES is what? A symmetric algorithm. So for decrypting, I use the key again in the reverse way. First K2 and then K1, right? So now we have made DES further complicated, right? So let's see what happens. So if we use a key of just 1 bit, how many possible keys are there? Only 2 raised to 1, so 0 and 1. Now if you use a 2-bit key, there are 4 possible key values, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. So in general, if you use an n-bit key, how many keys will be there? There will be 2 raised to n, right? So now we are using two different keys, K1 and K2. So number of possible keys for the cryptanalyst to decrypt become how many? 2 raised to 2n, right? And we use a 56-bit key for DES, right? So 2 raised to 56 for simple DES. But double DES will require how many? 2 raised to 2 into 56, that is 2 raised to 112 keys, right? So it is almost impossible to decrypt it. Why? Let's see in the calculator. Okay. So I have 2 raised to 112, right? So 112 and I use 2 raised to. So how much is it? It is 5.19 into 10 raised to 33. So it is a huge number in crores of crores, right? So how crores of crores keys will be there. So it is almost impossible to decrypt it, right? So the question is it safe? So let's see that. So the problem is the double DES suffers with meet in the middle attack. So this was devised by Merkle and Hellman. So what this attack says, it involves encryption from one end, that is the left side, and it decrypts from the other side. And so the results match in the middle, hence the name meet in the middle attack. Okay. So there are some assumptions here that we already know the plain text and ciphertext, so they can be easily got, right? Because plain text in simple plain text format, if you have the access to computer, it might be open, so you might have the plain text, and ciphertext is anyway sent through a insecure channel, right? So both are available. So and result of the first encryption is a temporary text or result which is known as T. Okay. So what does the cryptanalyst do is he wants K1 and K2, right? So what is this is the simple double DES procedure is shown here. Okay. So for all possible values of keys, that is 2 raised to 56 values of K1, what does the cryptanalyst do? He should have a large table in his memory of the computer, right? So 2 GB or 1 TB hard disk won't do. A huge memory would be required, because we saw it would be crores of keys. And he should perform the following 2 steps. The cryptanalyst would encrypt the plain text P by performing, he has the plain text, right? So he can encrypt the first key using EK1 of P, that is it will calculate key. So this is a simple double DES procedure, right? Same procedure, this is decryption, same procedure is written here with equations. So what he is doing, if I want to encrypt plain text, what I do EK1 of P, right? So he uses EK1 of P and he gets a temporary result T. So this is shown for a possible 4 keys only, because giving an example for 2 raised to 56 key is very difficult. So he'll get 4 T results. So what he does, he stores them as ciphertext. Table of ciphertext, he stores them in memory. Okay, then what he does, now he went from the left side, right? So he went from the left side. Now he knows the ciphertext, right? So what he will do, so next the cryptanalysis will perform the reverse operation. That is, he or she will now decrypt the known ciphertext key with all the possible values of K2. So K2 will also have 2 raised to 56 possible combinations, right? So this example is again shown for 4 keys. So he takes the ciphertext, decrypts it with 4 possible keys, right? So again he gets a temporary result T, right? So in each case the cryptanalysis will compare the resulting value with all the values in the table of ciphertext which were computed earlier, right? So what might happen? So from the above 2 steps we can actually conclude that the temporary result T can be obtained in 2 ways, either by encrypting P with K1 or by decrypting C with K2, right? This is because we can write the following equations. If you encrypt the plain text with key K1, you are getting T, and you are decrypting ciphertext C with key K2, you will again get T, right? That is what is the algorithm, right? But what is the problem for the cryptanalyst? That he doesn't have the key, right? So in each case it won't be same, right? But at least for one case it will be same definitely, right? So if the cryptanalysis is able to find the same T for both encrypt with K1 and decrypt with K2 operations, what does it mean? It means that the cryptanalysis knows not only P and C, but he also has now the possible values of K1 and K2. Why we say possible? Because we are not sure it is the same key. So what he can do, when the second message is sent with another known pair of P and C, so he can again try it, and if he again gets the same T, so he is sure that K1 and K2 are there for the remaining blocks of the message. So why blocks of the message? Because it is sent in 64 blocks, 64 block of 64 bits, right? So clearly this attack is possible, but what is the disadvantage? As I said, it requires a lot of memory, right? So for an algorithm that uses 64-bit plain text blocks and 56-bit keys, we would need 2 raised to 56 64-bit blocks, right? And which is equivalent to 10 raised to 17 bytes. So if you want an idea, let's see how much is 10 raised to 17 again. So 17 and 10 raised to, right? So this much bytes. So I divide by 8, so that, divide by 1024. So it will be what? Megabytes, right? So this much megabytes, again divide by 1024. So this will be gigabytes. So again divide by 1024. So this is how much? 93,132,257 terabytes, right? So this much terabytes, usually we have maximum nowadays 2 to 3 terabytes in the computer, our personal computer, right? So that was in almost 93 lakhs, right? So that is almost impossible to have, right? So, but we can't take any chances, right? So what we do, we use another variation of DS which is called as triple DS. So again what it does, it does 3S 3 times, but with a catch. So what it does, it takes the original plain text, encrypts it with K1, he gets the ciphertext. Then he again takes the ciphertext, encrypts it with K2, we again get the ciphertext 2. Then we again encrypt it with K3 and get the final ciphertext. So for decryption what we'll do, we'll use the reverse manner, right? So this is one of the variations of triple DS. There are 2 variations. So second is with 2 keys, okay? But what is the problem with 3 keys is we'll require 56 into 3 168 bits itself for the key. So that is a problem in practical situations. So Tuckman suggested a workaround. So what is, you encrypt the original plain text with K1, but the ciphertext which you get after encrypting the original plain text, you decrypt it with K2, right? What do you mean by, so you might say, sir, we have not encrypted with K2, how might we decrypt it? See, encryption algorithm is there and decryption algorithm is there. What we do, decryption reverse of this, means we use only the reverse steps for K2. That is the only difference. So we get ciphertext K2 and we again encrypt it with K1, right? So this way triple DS with, we are doing DS 3 times but with only 2 keys. So it is also called as encrypt, decrypt, encrypt mode, okay? And it is not susceptible to meet in the middle attack, okay? So that is advantages, okay? So then we have next as the advanced encryption standard. So what is advanced encryption? standard. So the need for coming up with a new algorithm was actually because of the perceived weakness in DES. So what was the weakness in DES? It uses a 56-bit key. So it is quite possible, and it is no longer considered safe against attacks based on exhaustive key searches. We saw that meet in the middle attack and etc. are the problems. So ES was to be based on 128-bit blocks with 128-bit keys. Okay, so let's see this. So I'll go to the different presentation for that. So let's see what is AES. So it is a symmetric key block cipher, again published by NIST in 2001, late 2001. Okay, and AES has defined 3 versions. So we saw there were 16 rounds in DS, but here we have, depending on the version, we have 10 rounds, 12 rounds or 14 rounds. And each version uses a different cipher key size. So if you are using 10 rounds, we will have 128 keys, 12 rounds 192, and 14 rounds 256 key. 256 cipher key size. But the round keys are different, remember, and they are always 128 bits. Okay. So we saw the broad level steps in DES, right? So similarly we have broad level steps in AES. So what we do, so as we saw, the difference is what 128-bit plain text is used instead of 64 bits, right? And the cipher key is either 128, 192 or 256 bits. That depends on what number of rounds. So NR indicates number of rounds, 10, 12, 14. So corresponding key size. Okay. So first, the initial permutation is replaced by pre-round transformation. So it is almost same. So pre-round transformation में क्या होता है? So that we'll see in the further slides. So 128-bit plain text is given to pre-round transformation, and the round key along with the cipher key acts as the input here, right? So then it is given to the various rounds. So round 1 to round NR. Okay. So remember how many keys are there? There are NR rounds, but keys are how many? Keys are starting from 0. So keys are NR plus 1. Okay. And then after round NR, we finally get the 128-bit cipher text. So let's see this procedure one by one. Okay. So before actually starting with the procedure, there are some notations associated with AES. So if you have a byte, it indicates what? 8 bits, right? So it can be a row matrix, written as a row matrix, or a column matrix, right? So if it is written as a row matrix, the data is read from left to right. If it is written as column matrix, the data is read from top to bottom. Similarly, if I have a word, strictly speaking, this should be double word for 32 bits. Okay, so these are 32 bits, right? So means, so I have how many? So uppercase is denoted here, right? So B0, B1, B2, B3. So 8 bytes, 8 bytes, 8 bytes, sorry, 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, so 32 bits. That is 4 bytes, right? So again, it can be in row matrix or column matrix. Then since AES is a block cipher, we also need to have a block. So a block is of 16 bytes. So you see this B are written in uppercase, so they indicate they are bytes, and these are written in, sorry, they are written in bolds, which indicate bytes. These are written not in bold, so they are bits. So I have 16 byte block here, row matrix. And then we have something called as state in AES. So how we create the state? It is nothing but again 16 bytes, but it is written as a matrix of 4 by 4. Okay, and it is equivalent to 4 words. Okay, so W0, W1, W2, W3, right? Because this is how many? 4 bytes, right? So 4 bytes, this 4 bytes, this 4 bytes, this 4 bytes, this 4 bytes, which give me this row matrix, right? So I get this block from state only. So let's see how we get that. So what we do SI mod 4 comma I by 4 from the block, right? So if you do this combination, you will get this matrix, right? So you will basically see that B0 to B3 is first column, B4 to B7 is second column, and so on. So block is converted to state, and again state is converted to block using first column is converted at row, second column as appended further, and so on, right? So insertion and extraction flow is this way. So that's what we have used. So next, changing plain text to state. For example, so how to convert this? So what we do, AES uses matrix, okay, but what we require a 16 byte block, right? But it has only 14 alphabets. So what we do, we add bogus character Z, and then we convert it into hexadecimal. So A corresponds to 0 in our that original last lecture. We saw symmetric and key encipherment. We saw A is 0, B is 1, and so on. So Z was 25. So we take that number, and that decimal number is converted to hexadecimal, and then we write these first four numbers as columns, next 4 numbers as second column, and so on. So from this block we have got the state. So now let's see what is the structure of each round. Okay, so I have a state as the input, so it is given to sub bytes transformation. Then sub bytes produces the next state, so this acts as an input to shift rows transformation, which in turn acts as input to mix columns and add round key. So add round key takes the round key as input apart from the state. Okay, so 2 inputs are here. Okay, and then we get the final ciphertext, which is again a state. Okay, and what is important here is one add round key is applied before the first round. Okay, so this is what structure of each round, right? But before this round one add key is applied, so that we can see here. So before round 1, one round key is already applied here. That's what is written in the note. And the third transformation is missing in the last round, means the round NR will not have the mixed columns transformation. Okay, so I think this is very simple, but just by reading the diagram you can understand what you have to write. So I have not included any notes here. So to provide security, AES uses 4 types of transformation. So these are examples of substitution, permutation, mixing and key adding respectively. So let's see them one by one. So the sub bytes transformation involves 16 independent byte to byte transformations, right? So state contains 16 bytes, right? 4 by 4 matrix, right? So I have the 4 by 4 matrix as the state. It is acting as input, right? We saw here for the sub bytes transformation, state is input. In fact, for all the transformations, state is the input. So 16 bytes are input for all the transformations. So what we do, these are hexadecimal numbers. So I can write them as AB. Okay. So this will be 8 bits, this will be 8 bits. Okay. So what will I get? It will be a 16-bit number but written in hexadecimal. Okay. So what will I get? I'll get A, give me the row number, and B will give me the column number. And what is this? This is the sub bytes transformation table. Okay. So sub bytes transformation table is a standard table. So it is given here. So 0 to 6 and 0 to F. Okay. So then 7 to F and 0 to F, because hexadecimal numbers will go from 0 to F and 0 to F for 16 bits, right? So F numbers, 15 numbers here and 15 numbers here, right? Sorry, 16 numbers including 0, right? So if I take this part, if you want you can show this part also. So I'll divide it into AB. The MSB side will give me the row number and LSB side will give me the column number. That intersection will give me another number which is taken from this table. So that is my, and that I substitute as the output of sub bytes in the same location. Okay. So for example, if the number is 0 0, if this number is 0 0, we'll go to this table, we see 0 0, it is number 63, right? So that this intersection we found 63. So 63 is put it here, but in hexadecimal format again. So let's go to the next one. So this is just a simple example of sub bytes transformation. Okay. So if I have 0 0, we already saw it is what, 63, right? Then if I have 12, let's go to that table. So row is 1 and column is 2, so C9. So what we get, C9, right? And this transformation is invertible. Means if I use 63 in the inverse byte sub transformation, I will get 0 again. So let's see that. So this is inverse sub byte transformation table 6 and 3. So it is 0 again. So it is invertible. Okay. So next in the round steps was what? Shift rows. Okay. So what is happening here? Permutation, right? So in the encryption, the transformation is called shift rows. So what we do, as the name suggests, it is shifting rows, right? So we are taking the rows and it is given to shift row transformation. What does the shift row transformation do? If it is row number 0, that is row number 0, then no shift. If row 1 means if this is going, what is done? It is shifted by 1 byte. Okay. And if row 2 is there, 2 byte shift and 3 byte shift for row 3. And how is it? Shift left with wraparound. By wraparound, what I mean, if nothing is here, I go to the last part, which is the LSB side. Okay. So again we have invert shift rows for this transformation, that is, it is invertible. So again let's see an example. So I want to, this state is acting as input to shift row. So row 0 no shift, so this is as it is. row 1 1 byte shift and to the left, right? So F2 will go to the last. This F2 will come as first and 63 will be second. So 63 is second, F2 is first, and this is to the last. Same will apply here. And what we'll do for inverse shift row, we'll shift it to the right. So this will be shifted by 3, row 0 will be as it is. So if you shift again this by 1, so what will get the original number, right? So next is mixing. Okay. So now for that is used for mixed columns transformation. Okay. So it uses this constant matrices. So constant C. So this is the constant, right? So what is happening in mixed columns is I have again the state as input. So what is done? Previous was what? Shift rows. So we took rows. Now what we are using? Columns. So we take column and we have a mixed columns common constant matrix, which is a standard matrix given by ES algorithm. So we multiply it with this. Okay, and that answer is the actual output of mixed columns. So that is what is given here. Okay, so again it is very simple to understand with the diagram. So make sure you draw these diagrams in the exam. So again mix and inverse mixed columns are inverses of each other. Okay, so if you use this as input to mixed column and if you multiply with this C matrix, what you will get is this output. And if you take this output and multiply with C inverse, which is this, what you will get is this output, right? So next final step in the rounds was what? Add round key. Okay, so add round key proceeds one column at a time, and add round key adds a round keyword with each state column matrix, and the operation in add round key matrix is again matrix addition. So let's understand. Again it is very simple to understand with the help of this diagram. So what is happening? I have a state again as input to add round key, right? So I take one column at a time. So I take one column and I have the round key, right? Since the name is add round key, means obviously one more input will be what? Key. So it will be again keyword will be the input. So both are added column wise, and I get again one more column. So that is added here, right? So similarly for first column it will be added, and then I'll get that output here. Okay, so this is not required, so you can ignore that. So now we saw that there are NR rounds but NR plus 1 keys, right? So to create round keys for each round, AES uses a key expansion process. So if the number of rounds is NR, the key expansion routine creates how many? NR plus 1 128-bit round keys from one single 128-bit cipher key. Okay, so let's see how is that created. Okay, so as we call this is what? 128-bit. It was 128-bit, right? If you see the start also, it is 128-bit key. Sorry, we are talking about round key. So it is always 128-bit, but cipher key can be 128, 192 or 256 depending on number of rounds. Okay, so round key is always 128 bits. Okay, so this is what word, right? So this is how many? 16 bits, right? So 16, 16, 16, 16, right? Sorry, 32 bits, 32 bits. So we will get how many? 128 bits, right? So each word is of 32 bits. So this we already have. The first number we have. What we have to do? So what is written here? To create round keys for each round, AES uses a key expansion process. If the number of rounds is NR, the key expansion routine generates NR plus 1 128-bit round keys from one single 128-bit cipher key. So this we already have, W0 to W3. So if there are 10 rounds, so this is pre-round, so key 0, I require 10 more keys. Sorry, so how I create them? So I require W4 to W7, W8 to W11 and so on, right? So how to create that? That is shown here. So this is key expansion for AES 128. Okay, so I have 128B, 128-bit key, so it can be written in a block of 16 blocks, each of 8 bits. So first 4 are what might give me my word of 32 bits. Second 4 give me word W1 of 32 bits and so on. So then I have something called as T4. So what is this T4? So for that I have mentioned it in notes so that you can remember. So what is happening? the first 4 words W0 to W3 are made from cipher key, as I told you. Okay, then rest of the words you have to make. How they are made? If I mod 4 is not equal to 0, right, then Wi equal to Wi minus 1 XORed with Wi minus 4. Okay, means what? Each word is made from the one at the left, and one at the top, means from this and from this. So from this two, what we will get? What I mean to say is, we already have W0 to W3, right? Let's go step by step. I want to find W4. Okay, so what is the value of I? 4, right? So if I mod 4 is not 0, so 4 mod 4, what is it? 0, right? So I should go here. So if I mod 4 is 0, what is W4? It is T XORed with Wi minus 4, right? So I'll have T. So what is T? We'll see later. So T XORed with W4 minus 4 is what? W0. So I XOR these two and I will get W4. Then I want W5. So 5 mod 4. So it gives what? Answer as remainder. So it is what? 1, means not 0. So W5 is Wi minus 1, means W4 XORed with Wi minus 4. So W4 XORed with W1, because I is 5. So 1 and 4. So this is what I get. So this way this entire block is made, right? And what is T? It is subword of rot word of Wi minus 1 XORed with R con I by 4. So I know it sounds something crazy, but what is rot word? It is nothing but shift rows transformation. But here we have one row only, so it is applied only to one row. So that is rot word. It stands for rotate word. And what is subword? It is nothing but again sub bytes transformation, but applies only to 4 bytes. There we were having 16 bytes, right? So that is what it is. So it is not anything new. Okay, so finally what will we get? All the keys, right? Because we have W4, 5, 6, 7. That's what we were wanting, right? So then this is the original design showing the entire AES structure. So what we have? 128-bit plain text. What is the first step? Add round key. So this W0 to W4 are my first round key, right? So it acts as the input. Then this goes to each round. So this is my round 1. Then again in round 1 I have add round key. If you see the previous slides, so that acts as, so that requires another round key. So that is what? W4 to W7. We saw here again that for round 1 we'll take W4 to W7. So then again we'll have like this 10 rounds, for example, right? So it can have 10, 12 and 14 rounds. So we have taken example of 10 rounds. So it will be ciphertext. Then again it is invertible. So again same things will be applied in the inverse manner. So again you observe, for the first round key, while encryption we are using the last key, right? So that you have to remember. So that one line you have to write. Okay. So these are the attacks which were possible on DES, brute force attack, etc. Right? So AES is definitely more secure than DES due to the larger size key. So brute force attack, which we saw in the previous lectures. What is brute force attack? The attacker tries n combination of keys randomly, right? He tries each and every possible key. So that is brute force attack. Then numerous tests have also failed to do statistical analysis of ciphertext for AES, and then differential and linear attacks are also not possible. Okay. Then AES can be implemented in software, hardware and firmware. The implementation can use table lookup process or routines that use a well-defined algebraic structure. So this is just a theory. This is not that important from exam point of view. So this AES is taken from Forhausen, and DES was taken from the book Atul Kati. Okay. So we'll stop here.